the powerful influence of our nervous system on metabolic health. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kristi Tompkins. I'm a functional medicine, naturopathic doctor, women's health specialist, professional coach. And today I am going to dive into our nervous system as it powerfully impacts or influences our metabolic health, our metabolism. So I am going to focus on the different divisions of the autonomic nervous system. So we've got the sympathetic nervous system and we've got the parasympathetic nervous system. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on what that means as it pertains to metabolism. So let's dive into metabolism or metabolic health, or metabolism as it relates to your health. So we hear the word metabolism, we often think of fat burning, weight loss, our metabolic rate. We have a fast metabolism or slow metabolism. Our metabolism relates to how well we are able to extract the energy from our food or our reserves in our body and turn that into energy or fuel, energy source in the form of ATP, so that our body can survive and hopefully thrive. And so with regard to metabolism, our body is composed of about 37 trillion cells. That's a lot of cells. It's about the amount of the national debt. We have a lot of cells, and all of those cells are dependent on us to give it the nourishment that it needs. And it's also, the cells are dependent on us to take care of our body so that our body is able to get the energy source that it needs in the form of preferably healthy food. So our metabolism is influenced by what we eat, our activity level, the nutrients we're getting, our stress level, our overall health, other illnesses. There's lots of other factors. But our metabolism is heavily influenced by our nervous system. So with regard to the nervous system, let's say you are eating a meal, you've just created this incredible, beautiful dinner or lunch or breakfast, and you're ingesting this meal. Your body is breaking it down, starting with the mouth, going down to the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, and you either excrete what you don't need or your body recycles it and uses what it can from the food that you've just eaten. Our body is incredible at being this innate or inherent recycling plant at reusing a lot of the nutrients to go repair the body or to store the energy from your food for future needs, for repair, for healing, and so forth. So with regard to and there's lots of other organs. You've got your pancreas, your liver, your gallbladder, lots of other things that are happening to help support the digestion of your food, of your meal. As it pertains to your nervous system, we've got two divisions of the autonomic nervous system. We've got the sympathetic and we've got the parasympathetic. The sympathetic, and those are happening all at the same time. There's always that balance and that dance based on what's going on in your body, what you're doing. Are you sleeping? Are you exercising? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling calm? But at all times, there's both of those divisions are happening at the same time. And it's really about the balance. It's about the dance between those two divisions. As it pertains to the sympathetic nervous system, we often hear that as being the fight or flight, freeze, fawn. There's different reactions or responses to that, and they're all important. None of those are bad necessarily, are harmful. It really depends on how long or how severe you are in that state. So the sympathetic nervous system is really about your body coming to your rescue, coming to your defense, having your back, being your ally, and supporting you anytime that it needs an immediate source of energy or fuel. So obviously, if you're stressed, if there's some kind of threat going on, your sympathetic nervous system is going to kick on overdrive to help support you so that you have the nourishment that you need from either the food you've just eaten or your reserves. And so the sympathetic nervous system can also be kicked, and that could be acute stress or that could be chronic stress. The sympathetic nervous system can be kicked on because of your exercising. So when you're exercising, it kicks on to help release some of the stored fuel or stored energy so that you can complete your workout. Sexual activity, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic divisions are active during sexual intercourse and other types of activities as well. And then anytime your body needs an immediate source of energy, whether it's an injury or an illness, or your body needs something to basically keep going. So there's nothing wrong with the sympathetic nervous system. It's obviously essential for many different reasons. With regard to your metabolism, how your body is able to extract the energy from your food to sustain itself, there's lots of things happening here. Your body is, in some cases, it might be breaking down fat. It might be, in some cases, storing or creating new glucose. There's a term called gluconeogenesis that might be happening as well. And insulin resistance might be happening in the short term so that there's more glucose. Insulin resistance means that the glucose can't get into the cells as quickly, so it's staying elevated in the bloodstream, again, to provide nourishment in case you need to have an immediate source of fuel. You're running, there's some sort of threat or some sort of immediate need. So in the long term, though, what happens and then also your digestion is also kind of slowing down a little bit. So maybe when the sympathetic nervous system is on high alert, your digestive system might be slowing down for that time. Maybe afterwards it starts to kick in and become more regulated, but for that time, it's slowing down. So you're not absorbing as many nutrients during that time because there's other things that are creating more demand. In the long term, what can happen is your body does not absorb your nutrients very well. So chronic stress, ongoing stress, weeks, months, years, decades, being in a terrible relationship, a terrible job, some sort of chronic stress that's actually happening in your life to you, for you, or something maybe that you are overreacting to, or I should say you are responding in a way emotionally, psychologically, that's keeping your body in that chronic state of fight or flight, that chronic state of stress. And so what happens over time is your body isn't getting the needs that it wants. And it could be a low simmer, it could be a low, a kind of a lower level ongoing stress, or it could be something pretty severe. Your body doesn't, your body just knows that there's some sort of stress. It doesn't know if it's actually happening or if it's something that's happening in your head. Your body doesn't know, your brain doesn't know the difference, and your body doesn't know the difference. So what happens over time is your body is not absorbing the vitamins, the minerals. Depending on the severity of stress, it may not be absorbing as much protein in your stomach. And throughout the rest of your GI tract, it may not be absorbing your vitamins, your minerals, and your fats. And so you have this like ongoing malnourishment. Might be at a subtle level or extreme level, but it's an ongoing nutrient deficiency. And then also it can cause more inflammation in the body, more excess inflammatory cells to be released. So your immune system is on overdrive, and that's okay in the short term, but in the long term, your immune system should not be on the overdrive, kicked up several notches, because that creates more inflammation, more pain, more disease. The cells become dysfunctional, the organs become dysfunctional, and that leads to chronic illness or chronic disease in some cases. So, and then over time, because there's this ongoing release of glucose, then your body and also because of the insulin resistance, your body starts to now store more fat. You have what's called metabolic syndrome, which is usually insulin resistance, a little bit of like increased abdominal fat, high blood pressure, maybe higher risk for cardiovascular disease, maybe higher risk for diabetes or insulin resistance, pre-diabetes. And so often what happens is the body gains weight. And one of the first places it goes is to the core. So that is the extreme case of having the sympathetic nervous system always being switched on, or switched on more than it should be, switched on at a higher level, more so than it should be. And that's going to affect your body's ability to get the energy that it needs, but now it's functioning at in an abnormal way. So with regard to the parasympathetic nervous system, this is the other division. And again, this is happening at the same time as the sympathetic nervous system, depending on what's going on with your body. The parasympathetic nervous system is all about helping your body feel calm and feel like it's safe, and your body is maybe resting. Maybe your body is feeling comfortable digesting its food, maybe sleeping, maybe meditation, napping, feeling connected, feeling a sense of belonging, nurturing, either with yourself or with other people. It's your body's way of rebuilding itself. So it's your body's way of getting replenished. Whether you're awake or you're sleeping, it's your body's way of kind of filling its own cup and repairing. So with that, your metabolism is powerfully influenced in a way that your gut regularity is functioning more normally. Your gastric juices are being secreted, enzymes are being secreted from your either your stomach or your pancreas. Your liver's working well. Your gut microbiome is getting repopulated or rebuilt, so to speak, balanced. Everything is getting absorbed in the way that it naturally is designed to. And so that's why it's so important, if at all possible, whenever possible, is when you're eating your food, is to do so in a calmer state, not stress, not when you're feeling irritable or angry or emotional. And we all know we've done that, eating in the car, eating when we're stressed, eating when we're scared, eating when we're lonely, eating when we're angry, eating, like, we all have done that. That's part of the human experience. What's happening though is not only is your body it's not absorbing the food in a way that is nourishing to the body, but over time, if this is something that's going on all the time, you might be eating high quality foods and complex carbohydrates and high quality fats and proteins, but your body isn't, it's not getting absorbed into the cells for nourishment, energy, ATP, and that's all part of metabolism. So it's almost like you're at this deficit, this ongoing deficit or nutrient deficiency. What also might be happening with the parasympathetic nervous system when that is more influenced is that you might be storing fat, you might be storing some of the carbohydrates as glycogen. That's a good thing in some cases, because that's your body is saying, hey, we're going to keep this because we're probably going to need it at some point soon or later. It's when you have chronic stress and the sympathetic nervous system is kicked on that becomes dysfunctional. But in a healthy way, your body should be storing some of that, some of the fat and some of the carbohydrates, depending on what your body needs. Often when the parasympathetic nervous system is normalized, then you're not producing as much cortisol. You're not producing as much of the stress hormones. The excess inflammation, the excess pro-inflammatory cells start to diminish. Your body is now able to heal and recover, and it's able to assimilate the nutrients from your food. Your body is also able to get the Usually when you're in that parasympathetic calmer state, you have more oxygen coming into your body. Often when we're stressed, we tend to breathe more shallow. We're not getting the oxygen, and oxygen carries, or we're not getting as much oxygen into our body. And our blood is carrying all throughout our blood is carrying oxygen. Our blood is carrying nutrients to every single organ in the body. And if we're not breathing very deeply or expansively, then we're not going to get the oxygen and the nutrients that should be delivered to all of our cells and our organs. So again, we're not getting the right we might be eating the right nutrients, but it's not being delivered to the cells. There's something called vagal tone. We have our vagus nerve, which is one of our cranial nerves that is heavily, it's part of the parasympathetic nervous system, and often it controls breathing, heart rate, digestion, lots of other functions in the body. And when we are nurturing or trying to put our body back into that balanced state between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, we have what's called vagal tone, which is basically the nervous system. The vagus nerve is now supporting a lot of the vital processes and the vital organs throughout our bodies, so that not only we can sustain our body and sustain our life, but so that we can actually have an even more flourishing, thriving quality of life, and potentially even longevity is enhanced as well. So one of the things, or some of the things that you can do to help support the dance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system is, number one, very, very basic, but very simple, but also complex for so many people, is making sure that you're putting high quality food into your body most of the time. Nobody's got a perfect diet all the time. That's impossible given our life today. Making sure that you're putting complex carbohydrates in the form of fruits, vegetables, preferably if you can, organic or sustainably raised or sustainably produced, farmers market or grocery stores that have organic produce. If you have your own garden, that's even better. But responsibly, maybe that was the word I was trying to say, responsibly grown fruits and vegetables. Less of the pesticides, or none of the pesticides if you're able to do that. And so getting that high quality protein, high quality essential fats, and less of the pro-inflammatory, less sugar, less packaged foods, less refined foods, things like that. And so again, it's about the moderation and the dance and the balance between those foods. So that's the first step. The second thing would be making sure that your body is getting plenty of strength training, aerobic conditioning, because that's going to support the nervous system, balance the nervous system, both of the divisions, but also support metabolic rate. I think that kind of goes without saying, but again, focusing on doing that multiple times per week if you're able to, and if you can't because of your schedule, you get right back to that, because that's going to initially increase the sympathetic while you're exercising, but then ultimately it creates that stronger vagal tone and more powerful parasympathetic nervous system. Things like meditation, things like breath work. A lot of times breath work and meditation go hand in hand, whether it's deep, slow breaths or sometimes a faster breathing in and out, depending on what type of breath work you're doing. That often can help support the two divisions of the nervous system. I'm a big fan of meditation, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes every day. And it doesn't have to be first thing in the morning. It could be before you go to bed. It could be anytime in the day, especially when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed or, quote, threatened by anything in your life. It could be job stress. It could be financial stress. It could be just simply feeling overwhelmed with all the responsibilities that you have on your plate. So setting aside time to calm the nervous system, balance it, can work wonders for your metabolic rate. And then things like being outside in nature, especially if you enjoy being outside, on a trail next to a river, walking along the beach if you're able to, whatever you love to do. That connection with nature is often very grounding, literally grounding to Mother Earth. And that also allows your body to switch into that parasympathetic nervous system, or, watching a sunset, things like that. Whatever you're naturally drawn to. And then things like social connection, connecting with people that you really, really love and really care about. You can feel lonely in a room full of people that you don't feel supported, encouraged, inspired by. So it's really important to surround yourself with people where you have that nurturing connection, that uplifting support, that unconditional, non-judgmental support of being around people where you feel safe. Because there's nothing worse than being around somebody or a room full of people where there's people there, but you're feeling threatened, and that's going to put you into that sympathetic nervous system. So surrounding yourself with people that are loving to you. I think that's it. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already, and we'll see you next time.